ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and Jeffrey Epstein's former attorney is naming names. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. The more you hear about people who dealt with Jeffrey Epstein, the more you realize why the deep state wants to keep this hidden. And you also realize a little bit about why Trump doesn't want to release it, and I'll tell you. I'll explain why. There's two Democrat names on here that we know for sure, according to his former attorney, Alan Dershowitz. This is Epstein's former attorney. And he names them in this interview, and I'm going to let him name them. I'm not going to name them. I don't want a lawsuit. I'm just kidding. They're publicly available. But I'm going to let him name them. But he also names people that were named by somebody else who are not really on the list, who were not really clients, who it was found out to be defamatory about. And here's the problem, and I think this is why Trump is holding it. You put all these names out there. Let's say 80% of them didn't do anything wrong. Their name is tarnished forever. Forever. And they didn't do anything just by being associated with this guy. And so in our zest for justice that we all want justice for these women and children, we have to be careful that we don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. And I think that's what Dershowitz was saying here. It's a very important point. Legally, you have to be very careful about this. But, as I said, he names two Democrats, top Democrats, whose names are readily available. I want you to listen to this, and let me know what you think in the comments.
Petitioned a federal judge to release grand jury transcripts in the case. I sat down with Harvard Law Professor Emeritus Alan Dershowitz, who once represented Epstein, to get his take on what evidence there actually is and how much of it he thinks we'll ever get to see.
Professor, good to have you with us because you've got a bit of an insider look at some of this. Let's separate fact from fiction. You say there was never a client list per se, but there are other names. There's other information. Are they in the grand jury transcripts, and do you think a judge releases that?
I think the judge should release it, but they're not in the grand jury transcripts. They're sealed records by 2 or 3 federal judges in the New York courts. I've seen some of these materials. For example, there is an FBI report of interviews with alleged victims in which at least one of the victims names very important people, and the names have been redacted. I know some of the names from my investigation. For example, George Mitchell, the former senator, Bill Richardson, the former ambassador to the UN, Ehud Barak, the granddaughter of Jacques Cousteau, were all accused. Now, whether any of these people actually did anything wrong, we don't know, because we know there have been many, many false accusations. For example, a woman named Sarah Ransom filed an affidavit, and it's probably in the record, and it's probably been sealed, in which she accused Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, Richard Branson of having sex with young people, and she said she had videotapes of this. And then after an investigation, she admitted she made up the whole story, and yet the affidavit still remains in the court record. So we have to be very careful to distinguish true accusation from false accusations, and I suspect the courts will be sensitive to that. They will not want to just produce the names of people who have been falsely accused without also producing information about the people who have falsely accused them. So this is a complex matter.
Yeah, like you said, all of those names out there could be